Welsh Chinese writer Peter Ho Davies had to dig deep into his upbringing for his first novel, The Welsh Girl. Jason Moon caught up with him recently at Auckland's Writers and Readers Festival.
It's not the English Midlands where he grew up, but 42-year-old Peter Ho Davies feels quite at home on Auckland's Queen Street. Peter was in town promoting his first novel, The Welsh Girl, and attended this year's Auckland Readers and Writers Festival.
Well, The Welsh Girl is set towards the end of the Second World War. It's set up in North Wales, which is a very sort of remote parochial area of Britain. It's an area I've written about before. It's where my father's from. And in this period, they had German prisoner of war camps up in these areas. They put them in remote places so if the prisoners escaped, they wouldn't be close to, arms areas or to cities where they could do some damage or do some sabotage. And I became really interested in the relationship between the local people, the local Welsh people there, and these prisoners, some of whom came out to work on local farms at the end of the war. And it just seemed like a really rich space to explore issues of national identity.
A work of fiction, the plot is loosely based on historical facts, intertwining stories involving a German Jewish interrogation officer, a farm girl named Esther, and a German prisoner of war.
North Wales feels such a long way from the centre of life, from London or Liverpool or heavens America. But nationalism, she senses, is a way of putting it back in the centre, of saying that what's here is important enough. And this really is what Esther wants, what she dimly suspects they all want, to be important, to be the centre of attention. The reason I guess I wrote this novel about Wales, and one of the reasons I've returned to Welsh subjects, and to some degree the same reason I've returned to Chinese subjects, it's because of my own doubts about my Welshness, if you like. I probably would not have written this book if I felt myself to be securely 100% Welsh.
Peter moved to the United States in 1992 and published a collection of short stories while working as the creative writing program director at the University of Michigan. His first novel, The Welsh Girl, which was published last year, took 7 years to complete. Peter Ho Davies' mixed heritage seems to attract audiences interested in ethnic diversity.
I think he's amazing. I am a Thai, and we have lots of nationalities. I'm always interested in people who come from different backgrounds, who actually could meld things and see, we see things in different perspectives all the time. So, I just love to see people who can actually put that across to other people.
It's always kind of thrilling to me, I think, to be sought out by any readers. But actually, it means a lot to me to be sought out by Asian readers. I think for me, it's partly that, when I was growing up, my mother, again, in the same way that I didn't feel like I was surrounded by much of an Asian community, she must have felt that even more intensely, having come, of course, from an Asian community. And she went out of her way, I think, to make connections. So if we would see an Asian person on the street, she would go up and chat to them and ask them where they were from. She would go to the local university and meet the Asian students, bring back those students to come to our house. I remember as a child, and loving this as a child, 20 sort of Asian students from Singapore and Malaysia coming to the house and having, steamboat and playing mahjong and being surrounded by, all of these lively young students. And I think my mother really felt that she wanted to try and offer a little community to people like that and make those connections.
He's a wonderful writer, and I often think people that have come from two cultures, they find it easy to go into another one, because I understand he hasn't actually lived in Wales, but he wrote about Wales beautifully, and all the juxtaposition of the different characters, the German refugee, the Welsh girl, the English people coming in, the English soldiers. No, it was fascinating, very interesting book.
I do think people have said to me that the book seems cinematic to them, but I think that's probably more to do with the way that, I see the characters or see the landscape. I think I'm enough of somebody who's grown up watching TV and movies that's just there in the writing and the way it describes spaces.
Esther yearns to be British tonight of all nights. She's proud of her Welshness, of course, in the same half-conscious way she's shyly proud of her looks, but she's impatient with all the Welsh nationalist talk. Somewhere inside herself, she knows that nationalism is part and parcel of provincialism.
The Welsh Girl received critical acclaim last year, longlisted for the Booker Prize, one of writing's highest honours. A novel that gently deals with love and romance, identity and roots. A great read.